good evening, and welcome to Sporlitics, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight is Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd, who just
our cousin Todd.
of somewhere where there was either a lot of dust or a lot of ice and cold.
Does it?
Muslim. He's Muslim.
No, it has nothing to do with religion.
Oh,
He's a traveler. He's a nomad.
He looks like a nomad, which has
Yeah.
nothing to do necessarily with religion. But
Yeah, he
Trump
don't know no religion.
texted Jeffrey Goldberg on the app Signal, and they shared their war plans against the Houthis. Stephen with NASCAR. And do you think a recession in the U.S. is inevitable? Juju Watkins has a season-ending injury during the NCAA women's tournament. U.S. intelligence leaders testify in front of the Senate today as they call for resignations in the Trump administration. The NCAA men's basketball, we'll talk about who's left to go towards the Sweet 16. The process of closing the Department of Education has begun. Trump signs an order seeking to overhaul U.S. elections today, meaning that if you're not a citizen, you can't vote. Trump targets Jenner and Block, a law firm, in the latest executive order aimed at law firms as the House and Senate try to pass Trump's very expensive legislative agenda. First up, we'll have Stephen with NASCAR. I don't have any film for you today, Stephen. I'll try to get some while you're talking.
All right. Well, there was a great race this week. It's 1.5 mile, what we call a cookie cutter race. And it was about what you'd expect from a race. There's a lot of following and leading, and for first half of the race, it's a little bit stiff. A couple of things happen here and there, but at the end of the race, last 60 laps is very exciting. The man that was leading the most of the laps was Ryan Blaney, drives Ford, number 12. He was doing fantastic, and his car was great. His teammates were doing great, and then he blew up. His engine just blew up, ruined the race for him. He would have won the race, I do believe. Well, they left the track open for the 48. Alex Bowman in a Chevrolet. He was amazingly fast and just leading the rest of the way. So Kyle Larson, who was a favorite, and it's who I had, was coming up hard the whole race, coming up, then come second place. And to really race this track at Homestead in Miami, you have to stay up on the wall, on the outside of the wall. You may bump it a little bit, you may tap it a little bit, but that's where all the speed is from the outside, and you get the most momentum going. Well, you're going to hit the wall just a little bit. You're going to tap a little bit. About a lap or two left. Alex Bowman hit the wall a little bit too hard, just enough to get him shaky. And then here comes Kyle Larson around the side to take the win. That was a great race. That was awesome. I'll take that. But next week, Blaney's car is not going to explode. They're going to be ready. They're going to tie everything down, and I believe he'll be at least in the top 3. So I would take him there. And Chase Briscoe, I had getting a top 5. He finished 4th, and I think he can get a top 5 here again. He's really good at this track, which is Martinsville. It's just a little more than half a mile track, and it's shaped like a paperclip, and it's so much fun to watch. I can watch some races. I can watch the last half or the last 3/4 of a race, get things done or tape it, watch it later. This race, I'm going to be on top of the whole time. I love it. It's Martinsville. It's in Virginia. I've never been there. I plan on going. I should have went there this year, but that's going to be an excellent race. But I do have a problem with NASCAR and the way they're keeping they're doing the points. This hurts them. We have a guy that's Bell that's won 3 races. We have Byron that's won 1 race. He's in the lead with 244 points. Bell, who's had 3 wins already in 6 races, he has 186 points. The emphasis should be on the wins. That's what it's all about. It's about winning a race. So how can a man in 6 races have 3 wins and be in 5th place? It makes absolutely no sense. throws everybody off. It shouldn't be like that. They have to come around next year. This is what they've been doing lately. They kind of change things, make try to make it more exciting. But this doesn't work. It's annoying, and it takes away from the sport, and it will help to put more emphasis on winning and the production of that. So we'll see if they can change it next year. If not, they might lose more fans because it's things like this that keep people away. And that's a shame because the races are amazing. They're great races. These are great cars. These are the best drivers ever. And these are some of the best drivers we've ever had. So, and it's really competitive. It comes down to the driver because all of these cars are so much alike. So it'd be nice to reward people for a win more than they did. Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you. Keith, you wanted to talk about President Trump and sports, right? I do have a slide video for you. Because he needs help with sports more than you do, Stephen. Sorry.
No, he's paying attention now.
Aren't from a family. I'm not. I didn't think the NCAA. I like that, but yeah, this is a big deal. Millions of Americans are watching the NCAA basketball tournament. The rest of America apparently was here today. The early section was absolutely packed for the wrestling championships. Tonight's going to be even more packed and more crazy. If you aren't from a wrestling family, I'm not. I didn't know what to expect when I got here. When I got here, I found lots and lots of very enthusiastic people.
March Madness underway in Philly. Wrestling Madness, that is.
Go Heels, baby.
Eddie is here to cheer on his son who wrestles for the University of North Carolina. I asked him to describe the vibe here to all of us who aren't part of the wrestling world.
Now circle!
Once you come to one, you're just addicted. The environment, the vibe is crazy. And then when you have a son wrestling in it, it's even that much more, insane.
The nervous energy here is off the chart. 300 plus wrestlers from 70 schools. Dozens of the wrestlers are from our area. Penn State's the big favorite, going for their 4th straight title. It's controlled chaos here, wrestling everywhere you look.
There could be 8 matches happening at one time, and you're focused on one match, and then all of a sudden you hear the arena explode on the other side because something amazing happened. It's really just a great atmosphere.
Philly last hosted this event 14 years ago. PHL Sports says about 100,000 fans are here for the 3-day event. 80% of the fans here are from outside our region, representing 42 states in Canada, Nebraska, Iowa, Iowa State, and Army fans are here in force. PHL Sports says the last 2 hosts, KC and Tulsa, each saw a $20 million financial impact. Cheesesteak places will do well, too. That is the first thing everyone wanted to talk with me about.
It's been great. We went to John's Roast Pork today and had a cheesesteak. It's fantastic.
Yeah, back live now in the Wells Fargo Center. Tickets are sold out through Saturday, but I did find some on resale. Saturday night, the tickets are going to be expensive, the hottest ticket in town. The president's coming too, so plan accordingly in terms of the traffic. The link is also hosting some really cool interactive clinics and things like that. Exhibits Friday afternoon and Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a lot of fun. Dress appropriately. I was going to wear a singlet for my live appearance here on NBC.
No, you
weren't. It's a family show. Yeah, well, I don't want to show these babies off,
I know.
Well, here's my perspective. Aguna's not here to comment, but I would say Aguna was right about something. When it comes to capitalism, this is the beauty of America and capitalism. We can be innovative. We can do whatever sport we want, whatever sport becomes popular, and that makes the money. That's whatever sport brings in the money. That's where people go. And now wrestling is becoming more popular, Stephen. This is amazing. And, we have now here's the distinction, because I'm a self-defense professionally. I'm a self-defense use of force instructor, and I've studied martial arts for over 50 years. So I just want you to know that there are different little different intricacies in, like, for example, wrestling, the kind of collegiate wrestling that this is right here. And then there is, of course, the judo, and that's in the Olympics. And then there is, the other kind of wrestling, the jiu-jitsu. So jiu-jitsu is in a class by itself. Wrestling is in a class by itself. And the other type of wrestling that I mentioned is in a class by itself. So all of these there are different aspects of these different sports. That's what the beauty of this. You can't, unless you do mixed martial arts, Now that includes a little bit of everything. So it's really amazing. All of these sports have individual fan bases. And that's what I mean by capitalism. You know, whatever is working, whatever people want to see, that's what they're getting. You know what I mean, Stephen? So
Oh yeah.
there's that distinction: jujitsu, wrestling, collegiate wrestling, and then judo, and all of those are different, but they
Yeah.
do
But
entail
why'd you leave
grappling.
me and Todd out?
What's that?
Why did you leave me and Todd out? You're like, Steven, you know what
Oh,
it's like, Steven, Steven,
I
Steven.
well,
Todd out.
Stephen, I mean, I'm sorry, Stacy, I didn't mean that. What I meant was Stephen's a boxer. You know, he was a former boxer. So, you know, just like I was I did martial arts competitively for a little while, but then that was in my youth. But I don't do that now. I don't compete anymore. I would never
Right.
compete now. I do it for self-defense. I teach people how to defend themselves in real life situations, which is a little
Right.
different. So
Yeah.
everything has its area.
But Keith,
That's what I said.
nothing can compete with wrestling. If you're going against a wrestler, you're
Yeah,
going to be in trouble. I mean, mixed
exactly.
martial arts. If you got somebody that's got a lot of wrestling experience, they
Yep.
are the best.
Yes, they are.
Trains harder. Nobody fights hard. Nobody does the things that they do. Wrestling
Yep.
is it, and it doesn't get the
So
recognition it should.
I
it
agree with
doesn't.
you.
And I wanna send a shout out to my cousin Troy Owens. He wrestled through his whole life, high school, college, from West Virginia, where my mother's family's from, Parkersburg, West Virginia. And he made a state record in the state of West Virginia for wrestling. He
Wow.
went on to
Wow.
teach it and
That's
coach
awesome.
it. He used to come to Philadelphia often for different matches, and he'd stop by and see us for the matches, over the years. So my cousin Troy, he is a true wrestler. He's retired from it, but he's a beast. He was a beast, so much so that he made the record in the state of West Virginia.
What
Awesome.
weight was he, Stacy?
I
About
don't know. He's not big.
right. Yeah. You just have to fight your weight. That's all.
He's not big. I'd
I
say he's
think the short guys.
170.
I think the short guys. Wrestling is for short guys mostly. I think.
Hey
No, I
Keith,
seriously.
did you see all the wrestlers that had won and how much they loved Donald Trump and everybody
Yep.
there was crazy about Donald Trump? Yeah, they're like
Yep.
they would get him to hold the trophy up and take pictures with him, and Donald Trump's everywhere. He
Yeah, I
just does
know.
not sleep.
Well,
And everybody loves him. Everywhere he goes, he gets a great reception.
and you know what I want to say? Donald Trump is one of the best examples in modern day of a man, of manliness, masculinity.
Yeah, yeah, he's a man's man.
That's right.
That's
And
what
we
this
kind of
country
lost
needs.
that.
That's what this country needs right now. Maybe
Let's
eventually
go
we'll have a
on.
woman.
That's
All
right.
right. Let's go on to
No offense, Stacy.
March Madness, NCAA Men's Division I basketball. Let's present the screen. All right. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So Auburn won in the first round.
Close.
83-63 is close.
Oh no, the second game they were close. Yeah, I can't see the screen.
82-70 against Creighton. They'll take Michigan. And between Michigan and Auburn, who do you have? I have Auburn. Who do you have, Stephen?
Where's Michigan? Were they ranked 9th or
Michigan is ranked 5th, and Auburn is number 1.
Yep. That's a tough one. I think Auburn can win, but Michigan is tough. I'll take Michigan getting points, but you probably have to go straight up with Auburn.
Yeah, I'm going with Auburn. There are 16, count them, 16 teams from the SEC in the Sweet 16. We haven't seen anything like that since 2016 when the ACC had about, I think, 7 teams in the Sweet 16, 6 or 7 teams in the Sweet 16.
Wow.
So the SEC has 16 teams. I mean, did I say 16? How many teams do they have in the Sweet 16? Wait a minute, I'll tell you.
32 total, right?
They don't have
32. No, they have 16. That can't be right.
Right. Let me double check. Let's go on as I
But the ACC
No, they
is
have
just
7.
garbage.
They have 7 teams. I'm sorry, they have 7 teams in the Sweet 16.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Well, that's
17.
still a lot.
That's a lot of teams.
Yep.
That's a whole lot of teams in the
Somebody guess if there were 32 teams in the Sweet 16? Is that what I heard, or was I mistaken?
What'd you
no
hear?
comment. No comment.
No, we were just batting things around. I
Hey,
can't see the screen, so I can't see the screen, so it's throwing me off.
You
All I see is a blur.
You got to give Nas his opinion on the wrestling.
Nas is good. Nas is good. You're good, Nas.
Welcome,
No, you
welcome
gotta
to
give Nas-
Politics, where sports and politics mix and mingle.
I don't see his name. What's his name? Dr.
Reverend Dr.
Funkenstein?
Pastor.
There he goes with that.
All right, so we'll go on. Yeah, this screen is kind of funky, isn't it?
Yeah. Plus, I got
Todd-
the light. I got the lights in my eye.
Todd, you missed it. Stacy asked them about the representatives for the Sweet 16, the last 16 in the NCAA tournament, and somebody guessed 32 teams.
I didn't hear what she said, man. We didn't hear what she said, right? We were just working through things at the beginning. That's typical.
Yeah, they know nothing about sports.
Oh,
All
yeah,
they know-
because I have a chance of winning my bracket out of about 20 people, so I'm doing okay. I got Duke. I got Duke winning it all.
Wait a
Todd,
minute.
who do you have winning it all?
Do you think winning a bracket is skill?
Yeah.
Or guess.
Yes. It's part of it is skill. Yes.
All right.
Do you do a bracket?
Stacey, you didn't ask Nas about the wrestling.
What's to ask him?
The proper term, as Dusty Rhodes said, it was wrestling, not wrestling, sir. Dusty said it's called wrestling.
What's that? What am I going to say? I mean, okay, so I think Keith wants to start something with you, Nas and Todd. Yes, because he said Trump came to Philadelphia, the NCAA wrestling, and Steven said Trump gets a great reception everywhere he goes. And then Keith said that Trump is a man's man. He's the epitome of masculinity. Am I correct, Keith?
That's correct. Just like wrestling. Just
All
like
right.
wrestling and boxing and so forth.
Okay. So I think he just wants you to know that so you can comment, so you can call him anything but a child of God, and then we can move on.
Before we move on, let's think about the cost of the motorcade, cost of protection, and everything else to set up a PR event for the president to go to a low-level, non-participant, non-celebrated sport that nobody cares about.
What, Steven? You hear that?
Just think about the cost of that.
If it was Joe
$3
Biden,
million?
he wouldn't be saying, think about the cost of it.
It's a sellout, man.
It's just
they
because it's
sold out.
him. It's just because it's Trump. They got to criticize it, man.
Yeah, I hear you. Look, it was a
So look
sellout
at
crowd.
Yeah, but look at all the money
Super
he
Bowl.
saved from all the waste
for a
from the
wrestling
left. Look at all the
event.
money he saved. That's why he can afford to do it.
All right. So let me move.
Okay, well, it is just sick the way these people think. But Trump knows stupid people, and so he knows how they think. So he plays on their not intelligence, lack of intelligence, and he says things like, "Look at the money he saved." And I told you last week, and I'm going to tell you this weekly. He's disturbing Medicare and Medicaid. And we talked about your sister.
No, he's
People
not.
like your sister needs, you said she was sick. And so she could not work. That's called Medicaid. And
do you think he's going to get rid of Medicaid?
Let me finish what I'm saying. And
Because what you're saying is irrelevant.
Can you shut up?
No, it's irrelevant.
You're a
He's not going to get, no president's going to get rid of Medicaid or Medicare or Social Security. What you're saying is irrelevant.
Please.
It doesn't matter what you're saying. It's foolish.
Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
Go ahead. More foolishness.
You see? And this is why Donald Trump loves these idiots. He loves Keith and he loves Stephen. Now, he won't have anything to do with them, but he loves how dumb and ignorant they are. They're cutting Medicaid by $700 billion, dumb.
Cutting the fraud out.
And see what he just said, they're cut. So you first said he's not touching it. Now you're saying he's cutting the fraud
He's cutting
out.
the fraud so Medicaid can continue.
Okay,
If you
good.
don't cut
Now-
out the fraud and the
okay,
waste, it can't continue.
Listen to me,
You're
dumb.
dumb.
He's so ignorant.
You're
And-
so
I gotta
ignorant.
move on. You know, there are some shows that have an hour and they cover 10 times more.
Yeah, but
things
you
than we
can't
cover.
control.
Because Todd's talking about
Leon.
nothing that's irrelevant.
You
So
can't
let me
control
share-
them.
Let me
So
share.
I'm going to finish what I was saying before he interrupted me, just like he goes on and
Can
on.
I hit the mute
Hurry
button
up.
for
Never
him?
interrupt him. So
Yes, you do.
he's cutting Medicare, Medicaid. He's cutting all of these social programs and calling them Ponzi schemes. Social Security, a Ponzi scheme, something that you've been paying into since you were 18 years old. So he's doing that for what purpose? To give tax breaks to wealthy people, which he got you saying, the job creators. And so for people like your sister who needs this,
She don't need it no more.
exactly. And so therefore you don't care because she
No,
doesn't
I
need
didn't
it.
care when she. I knew it was going to be there when she needs it. It'll be there if you need it. It'll be there when
No.
anybody needs it.
No, it
Because
doesn't.
they're trying to take the corruption out of
They're
it, which
not.
you don't
That's-
care about the
that's
corruption.
That's the dumb thing they keep telling people
Right.
like you. So
Right.
you'll say, "Oh, they're only cutting the fraud." And
Do
they're
you
cutting
think
people
he
like
would
your
do something
sister."
to hurt the people
Yes.
that need that they
Yes.
need
He
the
already-
people? The 80% of the
Shut up.
people are on his side. Why is he going to do things that's going to hurt him and make him less popular?
He's never had 80% approval ratings. Like that's.
I'm not saying he said the approval
Don't-
rate is 80%. I'm saying about 80% of the country actually do
No.
support him. Sure,
No,
they
it's
do.
untrue.
It is
Like,
true
you
because
just-
80% of the
made
country
that up.
likes what he's doing.
You just
They may
made
not
that
say
up.
it, but people like what he's doing. They like that they're cutting fraud. They like that they're cutting
No,
waste.
His disfavorably ratings are rising. His other ratings, people are looking at it as unfavorable. No, things aren't going well right now. Look,
No, he's doing very well.
Did
Doing
you
very
see all
well.
the people that said they're sorry they voted for him?
No,
Okay,
they're
so
not. Nobody's
somebody,
sorry.
you gotta love YouTube said, listen to the cult members. Then they said, you both need better, bigger flags. Then Chris C said, money saved. Stop watching Fox News.
I don't watch
Chris
Fox
C
News.
said,
It's as corrupt
Steven.
as MSNBC.
Chris C said, Steven, did you
News
buy
is not
I
racist
never
enough
would
for
buy.
him
Never
anymore.
would buy an electric
Now
car. I
it's
don't support
OAN.
electric cars. I would never buy any electric cars.
And then Chris C says, Steven, stop watching Fox News.
I do not watch Fox News. It's run by people who go against my best interest. There's one or two people on there that are cool, but Fox News is not anything you should support.
Even you said that you did not like Elon
And
Musk.
then you
said
gotta
that you didn't
stop.
trust
Stop.
him.
Stop. Wait a minute.
I'm
You
glad we
gotta
have him on our
listen to
side.
said, that's a lie, Stephen. Have you seen the town halls?
The town halls are paid for. The town halls are not
Oh,
real.
Gosh.
The town
Okay.
halls are not real.
That's why
They pay
Donald
people
Trump
$40
loves
an
you.
hour to be there.
That's why Donald Trump loves you.
You're wrong.
Hey, God.
You're wrong. I
All right,
know what
I
I'm
gotta
talking
move on.
about. It's all paid for. You don't have what we have. We have actual love of what's going on.
What about
all
the
you have is
veterans?
fake. All you have
Why
is
do you think
phoniness.
there's a we?
All you have is phony. Everything that y'all have
You
done
ain't
is
not a
fake.
part of a we.
Everything you have is fake. You
And
don't
the
have
veterans- Why
grassroots.
are the
You don't have
upset?
MAGA. You don't have anything
Why are the
equivalent of
veterans
MAGA.
upset?
Nobody likes you,
Why
and
are
everybody
the
knows y'all are
veterans
just a
upset?
bunch of
He's not
liars.
going to answer that.
Y'all are a bunch
Why
of
are
liars.
the veterans upset with Trump?
It doesn't matter. It
Oh.
doesn't matter.
That's
Picky,
your father.
picky,
Do a talk
chicken.
Isn't
show
your
with
father
the
a
No,
Trump.
my father
military man?
supported. My father supported Trump
You
because
really
he's
should.
a
but
smart
that's
man.
before he
I
cut
wish he was
their
your
jobs.
father, Todd. Then you'd be a smarter person too.
Oh gosh, he cut the
Now
veterans'
you hear how
job.
he's talking spicy. Now when people start retaliating, then he's gonna start. They're just name calling. They're
Right,
name
right.
calling. He's gonna get sensitive. So just stop now, Stephen, before I start getting on you. All right?
Oh, come on,
Right.
get on me. Come on, get on me. I'm scared of you. I'm scared of a little puss that won't show his face.
We won't show his face.
You're so scared you won't show your face. I'm
No,
standing right here.
I'm
Where
so
are you at, boy?
scared.
Where are you at, boy?
Okay,
Little
now he's
punk.
making
You're just a
racist
little
statements.
punk.
Yeah,
Get off
Now,
the
Stacey,
show.
now he
If you
making
ain't got
racist
balls enough to be on the show, then get the hell off.
Now he's making racist
listen
Get
at
the
this
hell off,
devil.
Nas.
Now look, Now,
And
this
Get out of here.
world-faced swamp
You're a
monster,
punk.
this raggedy NASCAR trailer park trash,
Raggedy punk.
wants to
I
make
don't yeah,
comments.
nobody you
Now,
scared
when
to
people
show your
start
face
coming back
because
on
you're a
him, then he gets
liar.
upset.
You're a liar and you're a piece of
He gets
garbage and
sensitive.
you don't want the whole world to see your face.
Okay, thank you. Now we're
Hey,
looking
this
at
man
You
the,
can't
on
stand.
TV.
we're
Why
looking
would you want someone to see?
we're looking at March Madness brackets. As you see the screen, this is Thursday, March 27th, Sweet 16, Alabama versus BYU, Florida versus Maryland, Duke versus Arizona, Texas Tech versus Arkansas. Let's go through real quick and tell me who you have. Stephen.
Which game? Alabama first, Florida, Duke, and Texas Tech. I'd be surprised if it goes any other way. Some of the other teams, I might take them with the points if I look at it. But right now, the favorites
no to drugs,
are looking
Stephen.
too good right now.
Okay, thank you. Steve, Keith, do you have a choice?
I
Reverend
pass on
Dr.
that.
Pastor.
Don't just pick all the favorites like Steven just did.
Hey,
So, no, I'll
Stacy,
leave it
I was
alone.
also going to say, Stacy, Alabama and BYU, take the over. It's about 175 or something right now, but take the over. That's going to be a game. That's going to be a nice game to watch and a fun game to watch. It's going to be nothing but points.
Okay, Reverend Dr. Pastor.
There's no reason to comment. Steven just picked all the favorites to win. Like that was his analysis. Like,
Well,
this
who
is dumb.
are you going to pick?
This
What
is
if they all win?
Who do
Okay.
Should
you
I
have?
pick the teams that I don't think are going to win?
Okay, Cousin
Well, what are you
Todd.
going to pick? Why don't you
Cousin
take
Todd.
Arkansas to beat Texas
No.
Tech?
All right, Cousin Todd.
I take the Phillies and the Devils.
He would
That's the
side
smartest
with the
thing you've
devil.
said all day.
He would side with the devil.
Yeah,
All right,
makes sense.
I'm gonna take Alabama, then Maryland, then I'll take Duke and Arkansas.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
At
going out.
least Stacy picks an upset and a 10-3
Yeah, I'm gonna take every upset, so I don't have to hear from the peanut gallery. I'm gonna take every upset now.
Thank you, Nas.
But hold on. Going back to Stacy's original point when she brought these up and talked about the SEC having so many teams in the tournament.
Yes.
This is not normal because the SEC is normally a football power.
Yes.
Because of NIL and all the money that's in the college sports now. Now some of that's trickling over to the basketball programs, and the SEC basketball has kind of risen. This is not the normal SEC basketball that we see. There's multiple NBA guys right now in the SEC. That didn't used to be the case. There's an NFL conference mainly, football.
Right, it was.
Now, because of the money, here we are.
Charles Barkley came out of Auburn, but that was unusual to, like you said. And then in 2016, in the ACC, they had about 6 or 7 teams in the Sweet 16. But let's go to this next group. Stephen, Friday, March 28th. Who do you got with these teams?
Hold on.
I'll pick the teams with the little number instead of the teams with the big number.
Hold on. Give me a second. I gotta look at this. I'm thinking of what happened in my bracket.
We got to move on.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I do like Michigan State. I do like Tennessee. I do like Auburn, but I will take Purdue to beat Houston because I do like Purdue.
Okay, Keith.
Keith don't have a pick.
No pick.
No pick, huh? Oh, here we go again. I'll take the 76ers
and the Devils.
No, I don't take you or your family. I just take...
You're the devil.
I take the 76ers and the Penguins.
All right, Reverend Doctor.
I guess as far as just like picking upsets, because to me, that's the only thing that kind of shows any skill or being able to like understand basketball or whatever. I like the Purdue upset somebody already called. But I'm going to go Michigan, man. Give me the 2 big white boys pulling off the upset against Auburn. The big Russian kid and the big American kid, Wolf. They're pretty good, man. I kind of became a fan watching them this year. So I'm going to go Michigan.
All right, I'm going to go Ole Miss, Kentucky, Auburn, and Houston.
I wonder how we did last
Kentucky
week,
lost
Stacey.
their coach. This is the first year guy Pope coaching Kentucky. People said they weren't going to make the tournament. He ended up getting them a 3 seed. So salute to Mark Pope.
I only picked Kentucky because my cousin Jamie is a Kentucky graduate, and I told him I'd root for his team. That's the only reason. Sometimes people win, brackets just on something that simple.
Yeah, they ran John Calipari out of town on a rail. He's in Arkansas now.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Hey, they're in the tournament.
All right.
So great picks. We'll see what happens next week.
You know anything about the ladies tournament? Because nobody does a bracket. Nobody pays attention. Nobody knows anything about the ladies.
Let's look at the ladies. I don't know anything about the ladies, to be honest.
Right.
Well, the biggest story in women's college basketball, the player, she's basically the Caitlin Clark of this year. When she gets to the WNBA, that's Michael Jordan coming. But she made a torn her ACL.
She had a season injury. She's done for the season, which
this
is
is really bad for the women's tournament.
Yeah. That's bad. So let me look at. I'm going to pull up the bracket now for the women's. I don't know anything about the women's. Does any? Reverend Doctor, you probably know about the women's, right? Reverend Doctor.
The thing to know about the women's tournament is the higher seeds are more overwhelming than in the men's tournament. So, like, look at some of those scores you see flashing by where teams are winning about 30 and 40 points.
Right.
Because the higher seeds are so stacked with talent, and at a certain point it just becomes hard to overcome. So that's why you see less stories like Cinderella stories.
Well, what was interesting, you see this UCLA against Ole Miss. That's set to be on the 28th. And then LSU against North Carolina State. And then what's Dawn Staley's team doing? She's a Philadelphia person. South Carolina. Pardon?
See, they're supposed to do what they do normally. But with Juju getting hurt, they kind of put everything up in the air, up for grabs. So some of these teams who may have kind of wonder if they were down, they got a shot to win a chip this year. So South Carolina, they're in the run.
South Carolina versus Maryland, and then North Carolina versus Duke. I don't know much about them, so I don't want to predict.
Me neither. Hey, Stacey, I did see Richmond in there. Where's Richmond? Are they still in it?
I don't think so.
I see they won the first game.
They lost to UCLA.
Okay.
All right. So that's it. We're going to go on to politics. What was up with Signal? Now, I have Signal on my phone. I have that app because sometimes when I'm overseas, if you can't use WhatsApp, you use Signal. It's a really good app for talking, for texting, for calling overseas, but I've never heard anybody putting war plans against the Houthis on Signal and letting a New York Times reporter listen in. Let's
It wasn't New York Times. It was The Atlantic.
Senate Intel today holding a hearing this hour focusing on worldwide threats. And that's a day after a journalist was included in this encrypted group chat discussing some military operations. Our Eamon Javers has been monitoring this for the past 24 hours. Morning, Eamon.
Yeah, good morning, Carl. It's a day after that bombshell report in the Atlantic magazine that senior Trump intelligence figures accidentally CC'd a reporter to a text chain while planning a military strike. Senior Trump intelligence officials are testifying live right now before the Senate Intelligence Committee for the regularly scheduled worldwide threats hearing. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe, who were both on that text chain, are testifying now. And just a few moments ago, committee vice chair, the Democrat, Senator Mark Warner, expressed outrage over the security lapse.
There's plenty of declassified information that shows that our adversaries, China and Russia, are trying to break in to encrypted systems like Signal. I can just say this: if this was the case of a military officer or an intelligence officer, and they had this kind of behavior, they would be fired.
And for his part, President Trump is indicating today that no one yet is at risk of losing their jobs due to the scandal. Speaking by phone to NBC News, Trump said he still has confidence in his national security advisor, Michael Waltz, who is the official who mistakenly added the reporter to the text chain. The president saying Michael Waltz has learned a lesson and he's a good man. Now, for business leaders, guys, all this raises a question about how leaders can monitor how their top officials are handling sensitive information and what role Signal should play in high-level communications. Back over to you guys.
Okay, let's start with Keith. Wait, let me show the comments. A comment. Chrissy said DEI didn't earn it. Hires in Trump's cabinet.
Uh-huh.
So, Stephen, let's start with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a way. Do you believe? I don't believe that's a way for the CIA director and the National Intelligence head, as well as the Secretary of Defense of the most lethal fighting force in the world, to communicate about a attack on the Houthis. Do you?
This is the way they do things sometimes. Sometimes they do it in a different way. They're gonna. It's happened. They do it. This is not unheard of, Todd. And what they're doing right now is they're investigating what happened. Things can happen. They can get hacked, like they talked about Russia and China or whatever. And this guy, just so happens that this guy, number one guy, has done nothing but lie about Trump for years. And he is a total scumbag. And he's with the Atlantic. He's a horrible person, and he's been caught in so many lies. He shouldn't even. It makes a difference.
What difference does that make?
Because it makes me pause that something's not right here. I don't know, but give him a little bit of time to investigate to see what happens before you draw your own conclusions and end up wrong again, like you are every time, Todd.
Okay, Keith.
Well, I have to say, this came out pretty fast. You know, this breaking news went pretty fast out there in the social media. But
yeah, if you put me on your text thread, I'm going to tell on you and your boyfriend.
So that brings a little suspicion to me, just like Steven said. I'm a little suspicious because it broke so fast, and all this is out.
What difference does it make how fast it broke?
So I'd like to see what happens after the investigations.
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is the thing. When you're stupid and you try to make excuses, you put a reporter on a text thread talking about bombing. Oh my gosh. They did that. Sorry, they didn't mean to. They did it. That's just what happened. So of course the reporter is going to report it. He reported too fast. He reported too fast. You sound
I didn't
stupid.
say too fast. I said it came out fast. I didn't say it was too fast.
Okay,
I indicated that it came
we
out pretty
just
fast.
we don't have enough information to make an intelligent comment.
There is no information you
Reverend
need.
Doctor.
The bottom line is they put this reporter on a text thread. They never should have been texting this. And you said he's not a war president.
They didn't text it.
And he is bombing. He's a war president. He wants to.
He's not starting a war. He's not starting a war. It's defensive. He's trying to stop. And they look. Nobody's talking about the.
Okay, thank you, Reverend Doctor. Reverend Doctor.
Todd doesn't understand.
So the disappointing part about this, in one aspect, is Goldberg, for one, he's written in conservative circles for years. So I don't know why people are acting like this guy is some kind of lefty or something.
Yeah.
Goldberg famously, when he turned 21, he went to Israel and became an IDF soldier for a while. So that's who this guy is. That's his background. He was part of a lot of the Never Trump stuff early on. He was part of that group, but this guy's a lifelong Republican. The second aspect the aspect that's weird is, as a reporter, I wish you would have held on to this and continued to allow them to give you information instead of going ahead and blowing the whistle early to kind of lessen the damage. So that's one aspect. But the biggest thing to understand in this story is we have government operated channels for this type of communication where everything is recorded and transcripts are documented from those conversations. So why are you using an outside entity to have conversations? Are you trying to hide something? And do you do this normally, skirting your normal process to use, WhatsApp or Signal or any other thing that's outside of government protection? Because all of our stuff is encrypted, it's fully locked down. Why are you using these third-party things to have conversations as a high government official? That's what's going to get them in the most trouble about this, because they're going to have to keep investigating and find out if they've been doing this before and what was talked about before. Now, as far as Trump saying he's not going to fire anybody, well, that's what he's saying right now. It's the start of the news cycle. The Dems are going to jump all over this and try to hammer Trump every day, as they should. And if it gets too hot, Trump's going to throw one of them overboard.
Remember Hillary Clinton?
And
How these idiots used to talk about Hillary Clinton? Both of them did, over and over and over again. Now, all of a sudden, sometimes they do this kind of a thing. And we're talking about war. She was talking about a grocery list.
It was not a grocery list.
Okay.
She destroyed like 30,000 emails.
Get out of my face. What?
Get out of my face.
All right. So,
but bigger than that though. Just remember, you're using outside government channels. That's highly suspect. And then the conversation you were having about our allies, meaning the Europeans. What are their intelligence services thinking about this now after reading this? What are they saying about the relationship going forward? And also, these are veiled threats for them to be squeezed monetarily. So how do they respond afterwards?
Nothing's going to come of this. It's going to be gone by the end of it tonight. Nothing's coming of this.
Hold on. Have you read the material in the article?
No,
nothing is coming of this.
I'm asking you a direct question. Have you read the
no,
material?
I haven't, but nothing's coming of this. This is something that the Democrats have to climb onto because they have nothing. This is nothing. This is nothing.
You don't know what it is, so thank you.
It doesn't matter. I know enough. I know enough. It doesn't matter. Nothing's going to come of this.
Clinton, right? Okay.
Nothing's coming of this.
What a nut job.
You don't know what's in it.
Okay. They didn't do anything nefarious. They didn't do anything that was crooked. Somebody may have made a mistake, or somebody may have been infiltrated. We don't know. They have to investigate it first. You've already convicted. You don't even have the facts of the whole thing yet. You're not there. You're not in the room. You're making stuff up as you go along, like you always do.
All right, so this comment,
you don't know what's going on.
You gotta love YouTube said Trump plays dumb. I know nothing out it when confronted. And Stephen has an excuse for everything. Chris C said Stephen has an excuse for everything.
Who is Chris C?
I don't know.
Is that Nas C? Is Nas writing his own stuff? You know who always has a fake name? Nas.
Yeah,
so probably Chris as well. I'm not paranoid, just based on your patterns. That's not paranoia.
I don't think you're
smart, Stephen.
Thank you, man.
Stick to them old roles you used to. Don't try to do thinking.
You're smart.
Yeah, I'm an independent thinker.
I'd love to talk about how the upcoming Easter egg hunt, President Trump wants to seek sponsors, corporate sponsors for
it. Everything's for sale.
Everything.
Who pays for it otherwise, Stacey? If not, who pays for it? Taxpayers? The taxpayers pay for it.
About this?
Hey, Stacey. Yeah, I know. Hey, did you see the whole agenda? They can't talk about anything that's gone positive for Trump. Hey, the price of everything is down. He's released a bunch of prisoners. All you're going to talk about is Easter egg roll because the Democrats have nothing. The Trump haters have nothing on Trump. They're going to talk about an Easter egg roll. It's pathetic. They are pathetic.
Stephen, stop. I'm not a Democrat. But I want to talk about.
I didn't say you're a Democrat. I said the Democrats have. I said the Democrats have nothing. This is pathetic. Who pays for it? Is it the taxpayer, Stacey? Because I'd much rather a corporation pay for it than the taxpayer.
I thought Stacey raised a great topic to be discussed amongst everyone.
You must have gave her the topic. That's why you think it's great.
No, I didn't. I didn't actually know about the topic until now.
It's a great topic. It means nothing in our lives.
Okay, stop talking, please. It's not your grandmother's Easter egg roll. They're going to get sponsorships from corporations at least $200,000.
Oh my God. Are you kidding? Impeach the man.
It ranged from $75,000 to $200,000 with the promise of a logo and branding opportunities. The role, which began during the Rutherford B. Hayes administration in 1878, has long been privately funded without taxpayer dollars, largely through the American Egg Board, which also provides tens of thousands of eggs for the occasion. And all the money raised by Harbinger will go to the White House Historical Association. Let me present that screen so you can see where I got this from. That's from CNN.com. I didn't make it up.
Now,
there it is.
Let's deal with that. Do you see how classy it used to be until this?
What happened last year when the transvestites were showing their asses and their fake tit? How was that classy, Todd? Was that classy when the transvestites were showing their fake boobs to the kids and their asses and their chaps? I guess that would be classy to you. I bet you were riding on one of the floats showing everybody your ass.
Why are you so fixated on gay
No, man, I'm
people?
telling you, it wasn't classy last year. It was you're on the wrong side of everything, Todd.
Ever since Bruce Jenner had a sex change operation, it ruined your life. Because you were in love
You
with
said it was classy. They took something classy. Look at what happened last year. It wasn't classy at all. But that's your definition of classy, because you like to see men with fake boobs and their asses hanging out. You're like, oh, look at this. It's so classy. This is so classy. I'm so excited. Kind of make me a little bit sick, Todd. Make me a little bit sick. Oh, but don't have corporate sponsorship because that's not classy. But your ass, your bent over ass in my face is classy. Thank you, Todd.
All right, I'm going to move on. Thank you.
That's right. That's how you stop a dumb topic.
Go ahead, Reverend Doctor. Go ahead, Reverend Doctor.
When we see Teslas being sold on the White House lawn,
that's what I was trying
when I see Teslas burning up because of people like Todd, when I see Molotov cocktails and bullets going through places.
Off the show.
It's not your turn.
Get him off. Stacey cannot handle this show.
When you see Teslas being sold on the White House lawn, and then this idea that things that were previously locked out of corporate sponsorship now being allowed, it asks you a question. It basically begs the question of, okay, are new norms being established, and are those new norms basically oligarchy, where you can basically buy access to the president, you can buy favors, you can do anything
not an oligarchy.
under a million different assumptions. So that's where this gets into dicey territory. So
Trump closed the border. Trump closed the border, and Biden said you need Congress to
know you're asking the right question. That's why he's so upset right now.
Why don't we talk about things that matter? Trump closed the border. Biden said you'd have to have Congress close the border. He did it in 2 months. Why don't we talk about that? Why don't we talk about the prices of things coming down?
Okay,
Why don't we talk about everything positive Trump has done? Why don't we talk about that? He's removing dangerous illegal criminals out of this country. Why don't we talk about that? We're talking about eggs. Let's talk about eggs. The price of eggs about down about 50%.
They're
not. Hey, where did the bird flu go? Where did the bird flu go? All of y'all are full of crap, Todd. And the American people ain't taking it no more. We're not taking your garbage anymore. That worked 4 or 5 years ago. It's not going to work anymore, Todd. And Dr. Doolittle.
You have to get control of your show.
So for those who are out there listening, inflation is still a problem. We're all still trying to tackle it. Eggs
it's not a problem.
Their highest price, but eggs are still way more than what we pay traditionally for eggs, because we're still dealing with a shortage. Matter of fact, we were trying to contact other nations to figure out a way to kind of ease some of this transition. So what he just said is completely untrue. Now, when we get these different industries from the dollar store talking about how people weren't buying essentials from them as much as they normally did, and that's a harbinger for a recession. When we look at all economic indicators pointing towards recession, and then somebody says, how come we don't talk about the good stuff? Well, sir, we're going to have to search for a long time to find this good stuff you're talking about. Now, the deportations where people are being deported without trial.
Illegally.
All right, don't go there yet. Don't go there yet.
Wait
a minute. Don't go there yet.
Okay.
Don't go there yet.
Right.
Let me start. I want to close out with the recession, and then we'll go into that. Please take a look at this.
And our CNBC exclusive Q1 CFO survey, it is out today. Uncertainty was a key theme this quarter. We asked CFOs what sector they see having the biggest growth over the next 6 months. The top answer, it was, I don't know, 40% of respondents saying that. Energy came in second with 20%. Tech and healthcare were tied for third place with 10%. Very interesting to note here. There were 0 CFOs that believed communication services, consumer discretionary, real estate, or utilities would be the best performing sector. That outlook on the sectors reflects the views that CFOs have of the broader economy. 75% say they are somewhat pessimistic about the economy. That pessimism is reflected in their recession concerns. 60% of CFOs say they expect a recession in the second half of 2025. 15% say a recession is coming in 2026. And if that recession comes, the majority of CFOs expect it to be mild to moderate. 40% saying mild, 90% saying moderate. The other 10%, they say they don't believe that we're actually going to experience a recession. The pessimism also extending to the markets. 90% of CFOs said they expect the Dow to fall below 40,000 before it hits the next milestone of 50,000. To put that in context, that would erase just about all the gains since August of last year.
And I think a meteorite might hit the country. Wow, that's your opinion. That's all it is, man.
First
That's all
off,
it's just somebody's opinion.
stop. I want to do a shout out. That was Frank Holland. I watch his show, and he's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, first off. And then
MSNBC.
he amazingly gets so much information packed in his 1 hour, and we've got to figure out a way to do the same. But you saw this.
We can do it. You got to get rid of Steven.
If you saw, he talked about the CFOs and how they feel about a possible recession. So do you want to talk to that real quick, Reverend?
I don't know what Steven doesn't know what CFO stands for. Do you, Steven?
Chief Financial Officers.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
She's my
Stacey,
mouthpiece.
these are people with more accurate information than most of us have, and not only are
They
they
go to
looking
school.
at data, right? Not only they're looking at data for the next 6 months, they're looking at data for the next 2 years. And the price controls that are going to be out of their hands because of this tariff nonsense, because of this so-called TIF with Canada and Mexico and things like that.
No.
Yeah, these things are going to be a problem,
No.
and they're going to
No.
cost money.
No.
And this is why trade wars shouldn't happen.
It's
Nobody
not.
wins. It's a race to the bottom.
Tariffs.
There's nothing good for
You're right.
anybody.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
And he's so dumb. See, it's not going to affect him because he's poor, and he's always going to be poor. So
I'm
he's
not.
got
I
nothing
am
to
the
gain,
furthest
nothing
thing
to
away
lose.
from poor, Todd. You want to talk after the show, Todd?
No, ma'am.
So a commenter, Christy, said you are paranoid, Stephen.
Yeah.
Nuts think they are so intelligent.
Yeah. No, it's not us that think they're intelligent. Y'all are the elitists, not us.
You gotta love YouTube says right. The president selling cars on the lawn is crazy.
Nuts. Just nuts. They were selling cars.
Welcome
Right.
to
He was
your
out there
third
selling
world
cars like a
backlog.
salesman. To
It
say
is
that
us.
is
That's
nuts.
what he was
He
doing.
wasn't. He bought a car.
Oh
He
my
bought a
God.
car.
Why did he have to
He's
do that
bringing,
on
you know
the
what
lawn
Donald
of
Trump
the
is
White
doing?
House?
He's
You're-
bringing trillions of dollars worth of businesses to build their companies in this country, all around this country. That's what Donald Trump is doing.
To
We
build
have
his
businesses from
company.
all over the world that are coming here to build their businesses here.
Why
Is
would
that
he
going to
need
hurt
do
the
that?
economy?
Why would he need to do that when he did that the first term? That's what you told us. That all
He
the
did
jobs
what
came
the
back
first
the first
term?
term.
Well,
You
he
told
did
us
what?
all the jobs came back the first term.
Everything came back.
No, what happened was he was severely hindered by his own people that were supposed to be on his side. No, he was severely hindered by COVID that was from China and our deep state. That all of that's been proven. Y'all know that. You know that, but you know what? You're not going to take him out this time. The only way you can take him out is the way you tried to do it the last 2 times. But you ain't defined a way to kill him yet. That's the only way you're going to stop him, because y'all are anti-American. You don't care
This
that
is
it helps
mental
American
illness.
people
This
because
is
you're
mental
communist globalists. You don't care about this country. You
Okay,
care. That's why you are happy to destroy this country, and that's what Joe Biden did for the last 4 years. All he did was Joe Biden put his hand
Well,
in the
how
back
is
of
it
his
a country
diaper
left?
and
If Joe
smeared
Biden
shit
is
all over the
running,
White
how
House
is it a
wall.
country left?
That's what we have to clean up now. We have to clean up y'all's mess. That's where Hunter Biden got his artistic skill from, was his dad.
Come on, Hunter
He's tried to destroy this
Hunter
country,
Biden.
not him, because he was the puppet.
Stacey,
But the Obama.
you have to
stop
shut
calling my
this
name.
weirdo up.
And
You have-
he somehow shoehorned Obama in there.
Obama's not a good guy.
man.
That's right. Obama's
This is a sick
a
man,
bad
man.
guy.
All right, thank you. Let me move on.
And Stacey, do you ever look at his lover when he's ranting like that? He does things like this.
Cooperate with his federal sweep against migrants, and he says that he is preparing an executive order for those who don't. Dick Brennan has more.
We're going to end sanctuary cities for some of these jurisdictions that aren't cooperating with law enforcement.
President Trump says he's looking at an executive order that would eliminate sanctuary cities, and it could come, in his words, very shortly.
They're guarding criminals. They're taking the rights away from the citizens of this state and their city. And we're going to be ending sanctuary cities if we find it necessary to do in certain major areas. And we may just end the entire thing altogether because it's just a way of protecting criminals.
Right on. Does that include New York City? Mayor Adams has been cooperating with the so-called border czar, Tom Homan, on certain issues.
I'm not here to war with the president, and I'm here to work with the president.
Adams says he wants to work with the feds to remove violent migrant gangs from the city and has agreed to, at some point, allow ICE agents on Rikers Island.
New York might not be included in the executive order if the language specifies cities. It could be that New York State would be exempted because of the mayor's posture with regard to immigration enforcement.
But Kean University Provost David Birdsell says if this ever wound up in court, cities and states may have the edge over the feds due to the 10th Amendment.
I would find it hard to believe that the court would overturn this particular assumption because it goes to the beating heart of the 10th Amendment, which guarantees states' rights.
Dick, any response from the mayor or the governor?
No, not as of yet.
Man, he gonna find himself a way to stay out of jail, Stacey. If he got to cooperate to stay out of jail, that's what Eric Adams gonna do. But Keith, what is a sanctuary city, Keith? I think the audience wants to know. Keith, what's a sanctuary city?
A sanctuary city is a city that gives sanctuary to illegal aliens who are here in this country.
That's the definition, sir.
Simple
I'm
definition.
gonna give you another chance. Okay.
Simple
Steven,
definition.
Why don't we give you a definition that you could come on, man? You have what you have is nothing. You have no good in you. You have no good intent. You come from a point of hatred. You hate this damn.
All right, stop talking. Let me present what the definition of a sanctuary city is. If you look at your screen, please.
Depends on the definition of
is a municipality that limits or denies its cooperation with the national government in enforcing immigration law.
There you go. Same thing I said, just much.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And do away with them. Do away with them.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those at home who really want to know what a sanctuary city is,
let's
use.
And I
that's
just
the
said.
definition. Does
And
that
he
tell
just
you what it
said.
is? Does that tell you what it is in practice?
They're not going to cooperate with the law.
Let's discuss that. So Keith is in California. So let's say Culver City, California. If ICE agents pick up 10 people who they consider to be illegal, and they call the city, the sheriff or the local city, whatever, and say, hey, can you guys pick these people up and hold them until we can get them to an ICE facility? And the city says, no, we will not take them. That's what a sanctuary city does. That's what these arguments are about between ICE and sanctuary cities.
Same thing I said.
That they won't cooperate.
Same thing. Yep.
And treat them as if they have jurisdiction because, as the man just said, the 10th Amendment says states' rights, and they have the right to decide how those things are adjudicated.
No,
which they used to love states' rights.
That does not
Stephen and
trump
Keith, they
federal
love
law.
states' rights until now.
States' rights does not trump federal law of the Constitution. What is in the Constitution? Article. That's the second. That's Article 8. Article 8 of the Constitution, and it talks about immigration. Immigration, naturalization belongs to Congress. That is a federal law.
Did the feed stop?
Yeah, it's
okay,
so the state has no jurisdiction over that. That's the way it works.
The cooperation. Yeah, and again, this is not the first
No,
time
they
this
must
was brought up.
cooperate. They're supposed to cooperate by law.
Clearly, there's nothing that says they must, and that's been the whole.
That's
issue
in
here.
that's in the federal Constitution.
Okay, I'm going to move on. President Trump will sign
Okay, Stacey.
an executive order wait a
Yeah,
minute.
don't mess with Keith on this. You're in the wrong ballpark.
Executive order. If you see AP,
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he
APnews.com
does.
says Trump signs order seeking to overhaul U.S. elections, including requiring proof of citizenship. This will be our roundtable discussion, starting with
The 10th Amendment.
Keith,
Wait,
Stephen, Reverend Doctor, and then Cousin Todd.
Before we go here, I wanted us to talk about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, because people like Keith and Stephen are too dumb to know that they're cutting Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and they're doing it this way. And he said, we're cutting the fraud. They're making it so that they're shutting down these Social Security offices where perhaps your father would go to, or your sister
they're
would go
not.
to. And so if they couldn't get there, they would call because they're bedridden or they can't. Well, now there is no calling. You have to show up. So you're 100 years old and you have to show up at an office that's miles and miles away because they've shut down the ones in your area. That's
They're
what
cutting
they're
out the
doing
fraud.
now.
They're cutting out the fraud, and they're going to make exceptions when they
They
make exceptions.
keep
There's a
saying
lot of
cutting
fraud
out
in
the
everything you
fraud.
just said. There's billions of dollars in fraud in
That's
all
what
of it.
they
That's what
tell
they're
you
getting to the
because
root
you're
of.
stupid.
Just
They're
simply
getting to the
They
root
keep
of it.
telling you that because
It's
you're
going to save
stupid.
America a lot of money. They're
Okay.
cutting out
So
the
Todd, we
fraud.
can't keep going over. He said the same thing before when we talked about this. This
Yeah,
is
he takes advantage of them. He's probably one of the people
But
who's
Todd
fraudulent
is
when it comes
correct.
to these things.
Yeah, but Todd
They
is
need to
correct. And this
investigate
is
you,
very
Todd.
important. And this is very important. Before the election, we talked about in Project 2025. This was one of the things that was listed there. People said,
Exactly.
hey, this is what they're going to do. Trump
Yes.
and Vance before the election, hey, we don't know anything about Project 2025. That's not part of
Yes.
our agenda. And then when
Yeah.
they get in, they start hitting every agenda bullet point one by one. And this one is coming up now. So Social Security is probably the greatest program created in U.S. history.
Yeah.
Just go look up the statistics for elderly poverty and elderly
Mhm.
suicide pre-Social Security.
Oh, Stephen knows that.
And you get an idea about how good this has been for Americans. Now, people say, "Hey, well, this thing it's going to be it's going to be dissolved because we're going to run out of money." No, actually, the only thing that would change is the rate that you would pay. So
Exactly.
instead of being paid 100% of the benefits that you paid into, you'll be paid 85% of the benefits that you paid into if Social Security becomes insolvent. Now, that's
Right.
only if we keep taking out of the till, because remember, during the Vietnam War, the Johnson was able to put in an amendment to where the U.S. government could take from the Social Security kitty. Now, if we just remove hands from taking anything out of it, yeah, that thing will last for another 100 years because one generation essentially pays for the next.
That's right. But Stephen already knows this. But see, his sister died. So now he doesn't
Why
care.
did you have to keep talking about my dead sister? Why don't you keep twisting the knife in my back, man? That she
I'm not
died in
twisting
December.
anything.
It
I'm
wasn't that
telling
long
you-
ago. Can you not keep bringing up my dead sister?
I'm telling you.
Can you make a point
that-
without using my dead sister that I'm still
I'm
grieving
telling-
over? I
I'm
said something to
telling
you last week.
Oh my gosh.
What is wrong
Can
with you,
stop
man?
talking?
What is wrong
I'm
with you? I hope
telling
nobody
you-
dies near you, and I'll bring them up every damn show. Why do you do it every
I'm-
show? You can
I'm
make a
telling-
point without
oh
bringing
my
up my dead.
gosh,
How about
he
my
won't
dead
shut
sister
up.
that
You
died
keep
a
saying
couple
that
months
over and
before
over and
she
over.
did?
You already said that.
Why don't you talk about my dead mother, my dead father? Is there any other dead people in my family you want to talk about, Todd?
Your father
I
and your
can't even
sister.
You want to talk about my mom and my
your
sister,
father
my
and your
dead
sister,
mother?
because
You want to
your
talk about
father
all
was
of
a
them?
military person.
Man.
Okay.
I
We're
mean,
gonna stop this. We're gonna stop it. We're gonna stop.
Yeah.
seriously, nobody's going to hurt you. There's millions of people taking
Hear what's
advantage of
going
all
on.
of these things, and they're
Let's-
trying to cut the fraud out. They're trying to
They're
cut the fraud
not.
out.
They're
my
They
not.
question-
are.
They're telling you
my
that.
question, excuse me. So my question is, why do they have to cut the fraud out, and why do they have to address the weakest and the poorest people in the United States? Can't they do something
not.
else?
They want to keep the poorest and the
As
weakest.
the old
Let me
as
finish.
the old bank robbers used to say, because that's where the money is.
They want to keep the weakest and the.
Hey, wait. Can I finish my point? I didn't interrupt you all. I just want to finish my point. Why do they have to deal with the weakest and the poorest and the sickest? Why don't they deal with the strongest, the richest, and the healthiest.
They are.
Lawyers.
They're looking at everything. There's a lot of healthy, rich people that are taking advantage of these places, of these, of the Social Security, Medicare.
already said
There's a lot of people
Medicare,
taking advantage. There's a
Medicaid,
lot
and
of
Social
fraud.
Security
They want to cut
that
the fraud
sick
out so the
people,
weakest
old
and the
people-
poorest can continue to get their benefits. They're cutting out the fraud of the people stealing the money, Stacey. Why is it so hard for you to
This is
figure
untrue.
out? Why is it so
Saying
hard
that,
for
and
God
that's
to
not
figure out?
This is
true.
untrue.
They're cutting out the fraud. They're not going to cut anything from the weakest people. They're cutting the damn fraud out. Billions of dollars of
They're
fraud.
not.
But if you
They're
cut
not.
that out, there'll be more money for
They're
the
not.
weakest.
There is
And
such
then-
thing
And
as
the people and the
economic
sickest.
fraud.
Thank
That's
you.
where you screwed up. That's where y'all's thinking is
Hold
screwed.
on.
You don't think
Okay, stop.
you listen to
Squirrel boy, be quiet for a second.
what's
So,
it? The View.
First of all, the wealthy don't pay into Social Security, so no, that doesn't wash. Then the second part, you said they're
The
looking for
wealthy
fraud.
does.
If you were looking for fraud, you would use the Congressional Budget Office. You would use actual auditors and people who have done this for 50 years. You wouldn't use a fly-by-night internet mogul to go into
Teenagers.
systems that they don't understand. So
The
no,
people
They've
that have done
uncovered
it
a
for
lot of.
50 years are a part of.
Okay,
Yeah, they're a part of the problem.
stop talking. All right, we got to move on. We're out of time. We're going to do our roundtable. Let me say, Christy said Stephen can't be for real.
cartoon character, a
And
grade A
then
moron.
you gotta love YouTube said Keith. Weren't you on a debate type show a few years ago? What's the name of it?
Whatever that show was.
And
This
Stacey,
show.
I saw you on Roland Martin, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a long time ago. All right, thank you. You gotta love YouTube. Let's start our roundtable discussion. I want to talk about Trump signing the order. Let me present the screen. AP News says Trump signs order seeking to overhaul U.S. elections, including requiring proof of citizenship. So
Yep.
let's start with Stephen.
Stacey, can I go first on this one?
Oh, okay, wait a minute.
Sure.
Start with wait. Let's start with Reverend Dr. Pastor, then Stephen, Keith, Cousin Todd. What I want to know about this is, isn't that up to the states to decide and not executive order by a president? Go ahead, Reverend Doctor.
Correct, Stacey. The 10th Amendment, as alluded to before in the previous discussion. I wish Aguna was here because then I could talk to a rational conservative about
He's
this.
not a
Say,
conservative.
Aguna, have you ever heard of a conservative advocating for taking power away from the states, especially in the electoral process? And Aguna would say, no, that's not a conservative position. And then we could all move on reasonably. But when you talk to people who have to make excuses, you're going to see the most twisted, ridiculous version of this actual document that you've ever heard on this show. But yeah, Trump is overstepping. He's going to get his hand slapped on this one. And there's no way federally we should allow a president to control the election process. Matter of fact, that's why the president doesn't control monetary process, because you don't want those systems to be gamed by somebody who can gain from it. You keep those things separate.
Which takes me to a quick question about why the Secretary of Treasury needed to know the exact pinpoint strike attack for the Houthis.
That's kind of shady, Stacey. Looks like somebody made some money over the last few days.
Ooh, okay, thank you, Stephen.
See, the Democrats cannot win unless they cheat. Every state that Harris won in the last election was a state where you didn't have to show an ID. Now, maybe Donald Trump, I don't know how he's going to do it. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't have the inside scoop. But I'm saying maybe he'll talk to the states. Maybe he'll make different offers. Maybe he'll do something. Maybe he's a deal maker. I don't know. But it's wrong, and it's wrong for you not to want them to show an ID. You have to show an ID to do anything, to go to a bar, to purchase anything, to do anything. If you're going to vote as a citizen, you ought to be a shut up dumbass. You should have to show your ID, because the only way that the Democrats can win is to cheat. Because the American people don't want your garbage, doctor or whoever. The American people don't want your garbage, and they showed it. The only state she could win is where you can cheat and you can vote without an ID, and that's wrong. That's wrong. That should never be allowed in any country, and it's allowed here. And
Conversation
the
about
fact
voter
that you
ID,
want
you
that,
idiot.
the fact that you want that shows you know that nobody wants your communist bullshit in this country. Nobody wants your communist
Okay,
crap.
thank you.
And we
Keith.
crush your commie ass, and we'll crush you to keep crushing it. I don't
This
care
is
what
so
you say.
annoying.
You
Okay.
are so
Dumbest
annoying.
man on earth.
Do you want people to vote without an ID?
No,
You're
I
a
just think
criminal.
you're
They
a
ought to
red-faced
put you
moron.
in jail.
You baboon.
You're a moron.
Okay,
You're a damn
Keith.
baboon.
All
You are a
right.
moron.
Okay, my turn. My turn.
Go
Let me
ahead,
do
Keith.
this. I'll do it this
Stephen, to
way
shut
by
up.
Go
That's a
ahead,
good job,
lover.
Keith.
I'm going to add, all I'm going to do is just read real quickly the 10th Amendment, which says the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. So there is nothing in the Constitution that says that states have the power to determine voting. They don't have the power.
Control of the
No,
election
that was
process.
given
Yes.
unto them because Congress did not do its job. Now, here's another one. The other one says in the 26th Amendment, the right of the citizens of the United States, citizens, not non-citizens, there is a distinction, the right of citizens of the United States who are 18 years old or older to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of age. So it is the state does not have the power, absolute power, to determine
Conversation
voting
about the
rules.
voting age, sir.
It is
What are
the
you doing?
Congress. It is the Congress.
Crazy.
Therefore, when the president give an executive order, it'll be Congress that backs him up. At least I hope so. So
Right
that's
on.
the way it
God.
works.
So
Right
again,
on,
this
Keith.
goes back to 2 years ago, all our conversations about states' rights during the abortion conversation. This is where the rubber meets the road. Trump is going to run into a million impediments, and he's not going to be able to get beyond this because this country has always decided federal elections should be state run. We don't have federalism to that extent,
What did I
where the
just read?
federal government takes over the voting process.
What did I
You
just
just read
read? Did
something
you
about
understand?
voting age, and then
Age.
the first thing you presented didn't even represent what we were talking about. So
Yes,
yeah,
it did.
you
Yes, it
failed.
did. Because it
Draw a red
mentioned
letter on
that it
whatever
was
you
a
just
federal
wrote.
law. The states do not have the right, is what I'm saying. The federal has the right. It's
Correct,
the
sir.
federal level. The
That is
Congress.
incorrect.
It is
You
the
made the
Congress. I just read it. Congress.
opposite argument
Congress
during the
shall
abortion
have
discussion.
power.
You
All
said
right. Well,
states' rights trump federal rights.
all right.
That's what you said
Why
during
would
the
I
Trump
said
abortion
propose it if
Congress.
he
discussion.
doesn't think he has a chance? Why would he propose it?
I said Congress.
Way
Congress
anybody
has the ultimate
proposes
power.
something and hopes it goes. Hell, this ain't his first
Do
rodeo.
you want people to
You
show
remember
an
Biden
ID? Do you
proposing
want
a
American
student debt
citizens to
relief?
show an ID, Nas,
Not about
to vote?
ID, moron. This is not about
Do
Oh,
you
he
ID.
want
doesn't care.
people to show an ID to vote?
He
This is
doesn't
not
care.
about ID.
Yes, it is
Stephen,
about
he,
IDs.
Why
It
do
is
you
about
keep
Stephen, he doesn't
saying
IDs.
even
that?
care about voting. Stephen, he doesn't even care about voting. That doesn't matter.
I guess.
No,
IDs.
no,
Okay, thank
That's
you,
no.
why they
Cousin
brought all
Todd.
the illegals in, so thinking they
Okay,
could vote for
Yeah,
them. That's why they gave them everything free.
thank you,
right,
Cousin Todd.
right.
Um, that's a poll tax when you make people buy an ID to vote, and that's against the law.
They don't care about voting.
So, nope, I don't think you should have to have an ID. You've never had to have an ID in the United States. And so now that Trump is president, you're going to start this new thing? No, the answer is no. No IDs needed.
Okay, is that it?
Yeah, no, that's not it. I just wanted to reiterate what Trump is doing to the servicemen and women, how he's taking their jobs, closing down VA hospitals, firing these people. And then you say, well, they weren't working anyway. They worked from home. They started working from home in 2020 during the pandemic. And then some of them kept
Never
working
came
from
back.
home.
Yep.
And so they do the same job. They're just doing it from home. And so now they're to be punished. These are heroes. Thank you for your service. These are heroes. And now you're punishing them by firing them.
They had an
Why didn't
8-month
you say,
buyout program.
why didn't you say, okay, you have to go back to work? No, he didn't say you go back to work. He said you're fired. So
No, he gave him a chance.
this is why the military hates Trump and his boy toys. But
A friend of
Stephen
mine, she worked
isn't
with him.
worried about that because his father is no longer here. So whatever.
A friend of
Okay.
mine worked for the
I can't
federal
wait till
government.
your
And
mama
this is
dies,
and this.
Todd. I can't wait till your mama dies. I'm gonna be up
Oh,
your
so
ass every
that's
week.
how we talk. That's how we talk.
I'm gonna be up your ass every week when
Shut
your mama
up.
dies.
Shut up, you baboon.
Shut the hell up.
Shut
All
up.
right, thank you.
Shut up.
Our first responders in our communities, you make our
Everybody else
life
on this show
livable.
bathes regular.
Oh, wait, let me see if I have any more comments. Oh yes. Chris C said the wealthy does not pay into Social Security.
Pussy.
All right, to our first responders in our community, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the women and men of the U.S. military for all you do. Did I just say that? No, yeah, to the women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do, and sacrificing your lives, allowing us to say whatever we need to say.
Do
We
you want
are
me to do it?
indebted. Now, you know what threw me off? I tell you what threw me off. Stephen was hurt. It threw me off because Stephen was hurt because you mentioned his sister, and that kind of threw me off. And he felt hurt, and it bothered me. So it kind of threw me off. So,
Well, he called me a boy, and he called Stephen much worse earlier. So he called Todd much worse earlier.
That's
So
right.
it's like
And
if you want to talk reckless, people gonna talk reckless to you.
and I
That
was
that
not.
when they go low, we go high. Stuff is over.
That's over.
People
But
responding.
I wasn't talking about them negatively. I was just saying those people are getting hurt by Donald Trump.
okay,
His sister, we've discussed his sister and how she needed that help.
right,
And for
but
him
you
to
know,
go
it's very
after people like his sister is rotten.
right,
That
but
was my point.
it's a very sensitive, and I want to apologize to him because I think he was hurt by that. It's a very sensitive thing when he's still mourning his twin sister. That's really tough, and to talk about her is probably really hard for him to do and to reflect on that right now. Maybe in a couple years he'll be able to, but right now it's really tough. So I truly feel for him, and I don't want him to feel
Okay.
like he's
I
being
understand.
treated.
I understand that, but let me just clarify. I was giving his sister props, saying she needs these benefits. She deserves them. She shouldn't have anybody trying to take them away from her. That was my point, not to degrade her or so maybe you're saying, well, he doesn't want
It's
her
okay.
name brought up
Right.
anyway,
He may
period,
I have
not
a
at
want
this
to
question.
mention
particular
it at
time.
all.
I have a
So,
question, Stacy. Stacy, has he cut Social Security now to this point?
Oh my
Has he cut anything?
gosh.
No,
Yes.
I'm just
but
asking.
wait,
He has
before you go on, let me finish closing out and then you can finish. So you can like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Spoilatics, YouTube at Spoilatics. You can check us out on Stephanie Stallworth's The Flow Television Network. We're on Twitch. Check us out on X. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok at Spoilatics.com. Any other channels that I missed? Facebook. And we will see you next week. Good night.
Women need to stay at work. You take too many days off.
My question is, has he cut anything now in Social Security with all the
okay.
other stuff
What
that
he
he's
did
doing?
was what he did
What?
was close down. Now I want you to hear me, dum dum. Close down
Go for it.
Social Security offices where people who are old can't no longer go, oh, just a few blocks away to the Social Security office. Now they have to drive miles away to go to the Social Security office unless they are computer savvy and these people are 90 and 100 years old. Do it online. Well, these people who are 90 and 100 years old don't even have computers.
Or they may be blind.
Or and on and on and on. So and he makes it so you have to
Okay.
show up.
Well,
Wait a minute. You have to show up there. So why should a 90-something-year-old person have to show up miles and miles away because he closed down the ones right in your area? That's how he's
so
doing.
nothing. So nobody's
Well,
check is
I told
cut.
you
My
buildings have
check is
been
actually bigger.
buildings have been cut.
I get
Services are
Social
being cut.
Security.
They don't
I'm
have
not
as
going
many
to tell you how
people as
much
they
I get,
normally
but
did.
I get a Social Security. Mine is bigger. Actually, I get a little bit more now. But I just wondered if anything was cut. That's all. My point is made.
They just explained to you that
Nothing is
yes,
cut.
things have been cut. And
with all the other stuff that he's got.
Stacey, this is a important plank of conservatism. The idea is you come into a public space, meaning anything government funded, and you make it to where the thing doesn't run as optimally as it should by cutting funding, and then you justify private industry taking that position over. So we've seen this in education. Now we're seeing this in so-called entitlements. So Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, things like that. When you don't have enough employees to service the constituents, what happens? People get mad, they complain, and then before you know it, you justify a way to take it over. So we've just seen this in the past. So I don't know why people are so naive or keep falling for the same old banana in the tail.
Isn't it funny isn't it interesting that the Constitution mentions nothing about all these agencies and nothing? There's nothing in the Constitution about all
colony, small country.
Now, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the state level.
We weren't the world.
Why don't they do this at the state level? You seem to be so
things called
interested in the
amendments.
states having all this power. It should be left at the state level.
To fund those type of things. The states don't have the money to fund it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you don't have enough money? What do you do? What do they do when they don't have enough money?
Fund that.
How do you remedy that?
You
adjust your
government
spending.
Paid for
you adjust
it.
your spending.
This is
all
not
the
about
money that is
adjusting
wasted.
spending.
I bet you if they did that at
Adjusting
the
spending.
California level, the governor just ordered. What did he do? He just ordered something.
If you put that piece of paper in front of Keith,
he wanted a
signed into
spending
law.
project.
Hold on, Keith.
The California
if you put that
governor
piece of paper in front of you,
had a
spending
spending project of a train, a bullet train from Los Angeles to San Francisco. That never happened, but billions of dollars would be spent. And that is such a waste. We don't need that. We just take an airplane or drive.
You just compared a transportation project to essential life things that people have put into. Ever since you got your first worker's permit, you've been putting money into this. And you just compared that to a public transportation project. Do you not see the problem there?
Oh, there is no problem because you don't have to invest. There are things that you can choose.
He's
where
a
you
Trump
invest.
supporter, and they're all
You choose
dumb
where you
and
invest
backwards.
your money. I don't invest where I can't invest.
Okay,
if I
so
don't
you
have
said
the money to invest it, I don't invest.
Where you invest? So when your money was being taken out for Social Security, it wasn't sent to a state fund. It was sent to a federal fund, right? So that's
which
where
they,
your money
of course,
is.
spent.
So now you're saying that the state
And then
should
because
pay
of
for
fraud-
it, even though you sent your money to the federal part.
No, I'm
How does
saying
that make
because of
sense to you?
fraud,
Do you understand
they
why
did
that
not.
doesn't make sense?
They were not. They took money out of that because of fraud. Fraud over the years, they have
Who's
been
going to
they have
jail?
been siphoning that money out.
Oh, let me know. Who's going to jail? Who's on trial?
Well, let's see who goes to jail. I hope Bondi can send
Okay, so you're just
some
saying
of these
things.
people to jail.
Thank you. You're just
I'd like
saying
to see Maxine Waters go to jail.
Of course,
some of these,
because
some of these
she looks
Congress
like
people.
your mother, and so of course you want her in jail.
No, she looks like. No, I'm not going to say that.
Let's take this to a real life conversation.
That wouldn't be nice. I'm not going to stoop to your level. I'm not going to look.
Okay, you're not going to stoop to
won't-
our level. We get it, T. So, Stacey,
No.
just taking this to a real life conversation. As people's Social Security benefits start to lessen over the next few years, what are the elderly going to be forced to do? Those who don't have enough
Well, first
money
of all,
to
we
go
don't
to a
know
home,
if that's true.
they're going to have to live
up.
with
It's not guaranteed.
children.
That's not
They'll
true.
be putting hospital beds in the front room because they won't be
That's
able
not. We don't know if that's true. We don't know.
So when
if that,
will
he's
we
trying
know
to
it?
say
When it
that-
starts happening over and over and
No,
over,
he is,
and then he'll say,
he has
"Oh well."
found,
Shut
thanks to
up.
Musk, he has found billions of dollars that have
He
been
has not. He told you that
And
because he
that's
knows
what
you're
he said.
stupid enough to
read that?
I
believe
like
it.
that.
Where can I read that, Keith? That he has found billions of fraud. Where can I read that?
He has found billions of
No,
fraud, billions
sir.
of
not-
dollars.
No, sir.
He's
You made
not
it
gonna
plain.
tell
That's
you.
right.
Where can I find evidence of this?
Well, he has found billions
Well,
of dollars.
he's going to keep saying it. He's going to keep
That's
saying
right.
it.
I love it.
He's
So
so
let's see what
dumb.
happens.
He's so
Let's
dumb. It's
see.
embarrassing.
Let's see what happens.
There's
over
no
the next few
evidence
years.
of that at
There's
all.
an African prince cousin of mine. He says he's
Yeah.
going to send you a check for $100,000.
I believe it.
20,000 back. So Keith, they're going to need you to deposit this check later
I'll
on this
do
week.
it.
We'll send
We
it to you in a
shall
Come on,
minute.
see.
Keith.
Okay?
Come on,
We
Keith.
shall
Let's go
see.
for it.
All
No,
right,
you
thank
are
you.
trying to instill
Good night.
fear of the future, which you do not know. You don't know the future. You're
We'll
just
see you
trying to
next week.
instill
Thank you
fear.
so much
That's
for
all you
joining
guys
us,
do.
Keith, Cousin Todd, and
You
Reverend
sound like
Dr.
the media.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night,